Nobody has more SUVs in its lineup than Mercedes. Count them up and you'll find 8 of them, and that will rise to 9 next year. But this is the very latest one. This is the all-new GLE, and we've travelled here to Texas to find out what it's like. It's been redesigned inside and out and now features Mercedes' latest hybrid tech. In the UK, there's a choice of 2 engines, a 2-litre diesel and a 3-litre 6-cylinder petrol, which features Mercedes' new EQ-Boost mild hybrid technology to help improve performance and economy. Both are 4-wheel drive and use a 9-speed automatic gearbox as standard. But before we get behind the wheel, let's talk about some of the practical things, because this is the first time the GLE has been offered with the option of 7 seats. Now, they are standard on the 6-cylinder models and the £2,000 option on the 4-cylinder models. And because the 2-litre diesel in the UK at least is going to be the biggest seller, you're going to want to know if they're worth buying. Well, getting in the back is a bit of a slow process. The seats are electrically operated, but it's not the fastest system in the world, so a bit of patience is required. But when they do eventually tilt forward, you can climb in and again bring the seat back automatically, which does again take some time. But when you're back here, it's a little bit tight, that would be fair to say. You wouldn't want to spend too long back here, but there's certainly enough space here for small children, and there are some handy USB ports down here as well. The best thing though is the wheelbase on the GLE has now increased to 3 meters long. So if you're sat in the middle row, there is absolutely loads of space. You can easily seat 3 adults there alongside each other. And if you don't want to carry any passengers at all, folding down the 2nd and 3rd row of seats frees up a total of 2,055 litres of space. That's almost 200 litres more than a Volvo XC90. Dropping just the 3rd row still gives you a decent 825 litres of storage. But what's it like to drive? Well, we've flown over from London to Texas to come and drive this car, mainly because it's built about 800 miles away in a factory in Alabama. We've been driving all day, but overall I feel fine, and that's got a lot to do with this car because it's just a really relaxing, comfortable and pleasant place to spend a lot of time and cover a lot of miles. Now, a lot of that is down to this new cabin, which for me at least is the best in this class. Feels more premium than an X5, is a lot easier to get along with than the Q7. It's just a really nice, well finished, well executed cabin. There's Napa leather covering every surface, 2 12.3-inch displays up front which cover off all of your navigation and infotainment needs. With the exception of these 2 rather flimsy plastic indicator stalks, it's just leather, aluminium and brushed wood. It's just a really nice cabin. And it feels, behind the wheel at least, a car worth more than the £55,000 that it costs. If somebody said to you, this is an 80, 90, even £100,000 cabin or car, from here, you wouldn't question that. Whether you like it or not, the only trim offered in the UK is AMG line, but that means every GLE comes lavishly equipped. 20-inch alloy wheels, heated seats, 4-zone climate control, and a raft of safety kit such as active park assist and traffic sign recognition all come as standard. So the model we're in here is the GLE 450, which uses a 3-litre 6-cylinder petrol engine, developing about 365 horsepower and 500 newton meters of torque. It also features EQ-Boost mild hybrid tech, which is designed to give a little bit of extra performance. It adds about 22 horsepower and also improve economy at lower speeds, especially in town and on the motorway. And it's a really nice, really smooth engine. It actually fits this car quite well. You would have thought something of this size, a big diesel engine, would be the engine to go for, but this does everything you'd want it to. It's quiet, it's refined, and actually when you put your foot down, it sounds pretty good too. Revs to about 6,500, But by 5,000 RPM, the engine sort of delivered everything it has, so you never really need to extend it that far. It's also pretty quick. I think Mercedes says about 5.7 seconds from 0 to 62, which is quicker than a Civic Type R, I believe, and it feels that quick from behind the wheel actually. But if you're looking for any sort of engagement or any involvement behind the wheel, you're not really going to find any. You know, this is a big, luxurious, heavy SUV. It's designed to be comfortable and refined, you know, and where it's designed to work, it does it extremely well. Even on enormous 22-inch wheels, the ride is pretty smooth thanks to air suspension. But go for the 2-litre diesel and you only get conventional steel springs. But that's no bad thing. Paired with smaller wheels, the ride remains soft and compliant, exactly what you'd expect from a big premium SUV like this. There is a new bit of tech that has been added to try and add a little bit more engagement and sort of driver involvement, and it's called Mercedes Curve.
How can I help you?
That's also quite irritating. Every time you say Mercedes,
I didn't stop to check.
she pops up, and I can't find a way to turn her off. Anyway, if you flick through the dynamic modes, you've got sport, comfort, individual and eco, all of your usual modes. There's one called Curve, and if you select that, what it's designed to do is help keep the car as flat and as stable as possible. And there are 3 different levels to how severe the system is, 1 being minimal, 3 being the most extreme. Curve mode is only available with Mercedes' new E-Active body control, which does away with anti-roll bars to allow each wheel to move independently. That means ride height, spring rate and damper stiffness can all be adjusted at each corner to control excessive body movement. And if I'm honest, it's a slightly bizarre bit of tech. It just feels a little bit unnatural. You know, when you're driving something this big and this heavy, you kind of want to know exactly where the grip is, how much grip you have left, and this system tries to remove that. It tries to keep the car flat and stable, and when you're cornering, it just feels unnatural. Where it does work is on the highway or the motorway. We've spent quite a lot of time there, and high-speed bends, it works quite well. It keeps the car flat and stable and quite sure-footed. But when you're driving a little bit more enthusiastically, it doesn't really have the desired effect. However, the system may not even be offered in the UK, as it's expected to cost a whopping £7,000 as an optional extra. As for the rest of the new GLE, well, it's what we've come to expect from Mercedes' latest generation of cars. Beautifully built, incredibly refined and crammed with the latest technology, if not all of it seems strictly necessary. If you want to watch the GLE's main rival, the BMW X5 being put through its paces, click on the left, and on the right for a video review of the Rolls-Royce Cullinan.